stood there nervously, waiting her turn, sat on a plastic hard chair amongst a whole group of women. When she spoke, she shared far more than she thought she was going to share, but it felt kind of safe. She explained that sometimes she really didn't feel good enough. She felt that others were better than her. Sometimes she talked herself out of decisions because she just doubted whether really she could do it. And there were times when she felt that she was just spinning so many different plates. She really just wasn't good at any of them, and she just felt like she was failing. She looked at me straight, and we both had tears in our eyes. And I very gently asked the room, who here feels like that sometimes? And I raised my hand. Murmurs of "me too" just lingered in the air as all the women just raised their hand. So come on, I'm going to ask you, who here feels like that too sometimes? Who here is going to raise their hand and say, yeah, me too? I still raise my hand, and that might surprise you because I'm a coach, and I'm not just any coach. I specialise in the psychology of women, enabling them to feel more confident and resilient, with less self-doubt, fear, worry, stress, overwhelm, imposter syndrome, and all of that. But I too feel like that sometimes. There are times, even this week, when I felt that other coaches were better than me, I couldn't really do a good enough job. Maybe I should just go and get a different job. There are times when I just want to hide under the duvet. So right from the outset, I want to debunk the biggest myth that holds women back. There is no such thing as a perfect, altogether, always confident, always happy, always in control, always organised, always self-assured person. I mean, can you imagine what that person would be like? Probably the most annoying person on the planet that nobody would ever want to be in company with. Yet we experience all these emotions, don't we? And they are drenched in shame and guilt and judgment. You know, I've coached hundreds and hundreds of women, and they all come to me with the same wobbly emotions. Fear, shame, self-doubt, imposter syndrome, worry, overwhelm. And they all say the same thing to me. Andrew, why? Why do I keep feeling like this? What's wrong with me? Why do these feelings keep coming back? And I say the same thing to them. It's okay. You're human. We all feel like this sometimes. So the idea that I want to share with you today isn't about how do we get rid of these wobbly feelings? How can we overcome them? How can we not wobble so much? No, far from it. I want to explore the idea with you that how we fall in love with our wobbles, how do we really understand them, and that when we do, we experience a deep resilience, a bounce back that empowers us instead of derailing us. So how do we do that? How do we get really good at this kind of bouncing back? Well, you'll be pleased to know that we've already done the first stage, which is realizing what is normal. And there is nothing more powerful that illustrates that than a whole sea of hands going, yeah, I do that too. In 2014, I was introduced to a psychological understanding that would not only changed my life, but also underpin the work that I do now. It was first articulated by Sydney Banks, who was a Scottish welder by trade, but who had a profound understanding of the human experience. Now, one of the things that he said that really struck me was if the one thing that people really understood was not to be afraid of their experience, that alone would change the world. And when I heard that, I thought, well, I'm not really afraid of my experience. But there were things I didn't like about it. I didn't like my wobbles. You know, in fact, I'd go as far as saying that I actually really loathed them. I hated the fact that I felt stressed, that I got overwhelmed, that I felt fearful, I thought other people were better than me. I really didn't like that. I'd go as far as saying this, I was ashamed that I had those feelings. I didn't want other people to see them because I feared their judgment, that they would see that as a flaw in me, that there was something wrong with me. And so, yeah, I was afraid. I was really afraid of all of those wobbles. And the insight that I had was, well, what if I wasn't afraid, just like Sid said? What if I actually learned to love my wobbles? What if I learned to love my wobbles just as much as I love all of my other emotions that I have? And at this point, I want to distinguish between thinking positively about something and really understanding, like realizing its nature, because that's how we fall in love with something, when we really understand it. When we think positively about something, it's like adding a gloss to something that we don't really believe is true. So it's a bit like going to the dentist. You're going to have a tooth extracted without any anaesthetic. And you're telling yourself you're going to be okay, it's going to be absolutely fine, it's not going to hurt a bit, but actually deep down you know it's really going to hurt like hell. When we realise something's true nature, and we really understand it, that's like thinking that you're drowning in a deep pool of water, and then realising it's only 2 feet deep, and you can stand up. When we realise the nature of our wobbles, it's so much easier to fall in love with them. And we then move into stage 2, if you like, understanding them. What is that? Well, in my previous TEDx, I shared with you about how I wobbled and my journey with my wobbling, if you like. I thought that when I thought I wasn't good enough, or other people were better than me, or I should go and do another job, I thought all of what I was thinking was true. All my insecure thoughts I thought were factually correct, and so then I would act upon them. What I innocently misunderstood is that they weren't telling me anything about who I was, or how good I was, or how I was stacking up against the world, or whether I should be doing what I was doing at all. They were just telling me one thing, and that was my state of mind. I was wobbling. And it was as simple as that. Now, our state of mind can fluctuate throughout the day. Now, we've all experienced a higher state of mind. That's that lovely feeling of flow that we get when everything feels easy and good. You know, we have that lovely natural joy, that natural confidence. We might come up with ideas and get a little excited and we just run with them. The odd doubt might pop into our head, but we just brush it off because it's all good. We go with the flow. When our state of mind drops, the reverse is true. So everything that we think, whether it's positive or negative, all feels very real. It's how we work. It's how we create our experience. But when it comes to wobbling, oh my goodness, when we're in a lower state of mind, our wobbles are really real. We believe that we're not good enough, or that someone else is better than us, or we shouldn't be doing what we should be doing. But really, all it's telling us is that we're wobbling. It's not telling us anything about the outside at all. And we know that because we know that when we feel insecure, there's often reams and reams of evidence to the contrary, that we are actually really good at what we do, and that people appreciate what we do, and we have good impact, or our businesses are great, or whatever it is. And often, those wobbles, we've been having them for years. I've been having my I'm not good enough wobble since about the age of 11. I'm really good at it now. Yeah? But I'm not 11 anymore. So we know that our wobbles are unreliable. We know that they're not true. So they can only be telling us about our state of mind. So now when I wobble, and goodness me, when I wobble, I really wobble, as my lovely husband here will no doubt tell everyone. I see that as an engine failure warning light. Yeah? It's time for me to take my foot off the pedal, have a rest, recharge. Not go and scour the job pages, change career, sign up for a new course, or the myriad of other things that I used to do. When we start to see the nature of these wobbles, the real nature, it takes the sting out of them. They don't feel quite so powerful as they did before. And then we naturally fall into a state of compassion. And this is our third stage of bouncing back. Compassion is a natural state, it's innate within us. And we know this because whenever you see a little kid, say about 18 months, yeah, and they're just toddling about, if they see somebody upset or somebody who falls over, they naturally go over and show compassion, don't they? They give a hug or share a toy or a treat. It's just naturally within them. And it's naturally within us too. And we experience that when we fall out of judgment. We fall out of our wobbles. We see it for what it really is. And that compassion is beautiful. It's hopeful. It's expansive. And it allows us to grow. When we're in that state of compassion, we can just listen for what we really need. We can take that welcome pause. We know that that wobble isn't going to last forever. Yeah, it will pass, just like a rainstorm. And so we can make whatever decision we need to make until such times as we stop wobbling and we feel better. What we find is that when we show more compassion, when we experience this compassion, we don't have that roller coaster that we often feel when we're wobbling. It has the habit of just ironing itself out. We can see the transitory nature of what we're experiencing. And we may even welcome it, because when we're wobbling and we maybe wanting to hide under the duvet or watch some, box set or whatever, it brings a welcome break to the flow that we experience when we're in a good state of mind. But also it gives us an opportunity to be curious and explore ourselves a little bit more. And maybe learn a little bit more about our own experience. And this is when we reach that final stage, a true resilience, a bounce back. Now resilience, the meaning of resilience, is to return back to the state we were before we were pulled out of shape. And this is exactly what happens. When we realize what is normal, We understand what our wobbles really are. We feel that compassion towards ourselves. We literally just let our wobble go. It was a wobble. It's no problem. We don't add a meaning to it. We don't give it any meaning in the first place. We don't take that wobble that we experienced into this new moment, which is nice and new and fresh. We're as good as new. We're good to go. And the impact of that is incredible. It enables us to flourish and grow in ways that we may not have imagined. And you might say, well, how do you know that, Andrea? Well, how do you know? Well, I've witnessed this hundreds and hundreds of times, experienced it personally. But let's just look at what happens when we don't have it. So when we wobble, we believe what our wobbles are telling us. So we believe that we're not good enough. We believe that we shouldn't be doing what we're doing. We believe that that decision we made was completely wrong, and it's got a whole load of different consequences that run on into about 3 years, and it's all going to be a disaster. We believe that, and we react. We start retracting our decisions. We start doing things differently. We don't realise that our wobbles are normal and human. No, we feel that we're the only ones. So we feel shame, feel isolation, and we may just backtrack a little bit more. Now, because we're not doing what we said we were going to do, we're not gaining that momentum, we're not gaining that traction, we may feel guilty. We may feel like we're letting other people down. We're kind of wobbling on our original wobble, digging ourselves deeper into this pit rather than digging ourselves out. As a result of that, we may even look back to all the other wobbles that we've had in the past and try and see a pattern and use it all as evidence to support that initial wobbly belief that we're not good enough, that others are better than us, that we really believe that they are true and that they are reliable. There's no resilience there. There's no compassion. There's no bounce back. And we're certainly not in the same state as we were before we started to wobble. Now, we do always bounce back, because humans do. We're incredibly resilient. It's innate within us. But when we don't understand the nature of our own bounce back, we don't focus on the fact that we've bounced back. We focus on all of our wobbles, giving them more and more meaning, so we don't see the resilience within us. However, when we do understand the nature of our resilience, when we do understand the nature of bounce back, we can flourish and grow in ways in which we could never have imagined. We are able to navigate the bumps in the road with ease and grace, and all without fixing ourselves inside. Just thoughtful action as a result of falling in love with our wobbles. Thank you.